Good evening, everybody. When I wore this jacket, Mangesh asked me a nice question. He said, "You are wearing a dangerous color." So I told him, if you look at the board, it's the same color that Goa's perspective is written. And I believe if you take today's topic, air pollution, I believe if you go in any nook and corner of Goa, I think that is the color of perspective you will find. I think the challenge before this panel today evening is, can we change that color? And whether my jacket turns blue at the end of this session. And the kind of panel I have here, I hope that by the time we finish here, we will have certain tangible points to move forward. The topic is interesting, and there are so many points that we need to delve into. The most important topic, Mangesh, while introducing, also said about that when we are doing this development, when we are talking about development, when we are talking about Vikas, can that Vikas be devoid of any pollution? Or is pollution a natural consequence of that development? I'll take initial remarks on that topic and then we'll move forward. I'll start with the Minister himself, because we are talking about Vikas. I cannot start with anybody else. I have to start with you.
See, I first of all want to say we have one of the most important topics being discussed here. And I don't think anybody, whether sitting here with us on stage or off stage, is not concerned about pollution of all sorts. And particularly the subject here for this year is the air pollution. I for one want to say that the very fact that we are able to breathe good air, we are all surviving in a healthy manner, we are able to converse and do normal things. It's only when you reach certain situations and reach alarming proportions that you start getting concerned. I for one look at our own national capital, Delhi. There is a sense of a little unease sometimes when you breathe the air there in some areas, which I have noticed because I am a frequent visitor to Delhi. And one really gets concerned what levels we are reaching. And you for one are aware, just like the others, that while we need growth, we need development, it has to be sustainable in the sense that we do not destroy environment. And the importance of breathing normally fresh air is known. Just the other day, there were people who were trying to conquer Mount Everest, and when they could not get air to breathe, what happened? And forget the fresh air or good air to breathe. There was no air to breathe. And what happened to them? It was death, which is there for the asking. And I think even in a recent comment by one of the judges in the NGT, he said we have to equate pollution to like a death sentence, especially air pollution. I think if it is so polluted, it's like sentencing a person to death. And history beckons us that there were gas chambers where people were choked to death. So do we want to reach that alarming situation, or do we want to do something wherein, while having normal growth, while having development of a kind, that you do not destroy the environment? I think all of you will be on the same page as me, that while we would like to have good infrastructure for being built, good amenities coming up for the citizen, good projects being developed, and that is what is happening in Goa. But I think as a government, I can safely say that we have always had regard and utmost regard for the environment, for the level of pollution that is taking place, to take measures to safeguard that, and anything else that would be required to be done in the long run. I think we would always be willing to do that. And I would like to listen to all of you before I can speak on further things.
Milind Bab, same question. Is pollution a natural consequence of development, or can we avoid pollution and have any kind of development?
I look at it in a different perspective. Thing is like this is that see development definitely is a requirement of all ages, not only today. Development has always been required. And whenever we try to do any intervention or anything that is done has got an adverse impact. So when you move something gets disturbed. It's how responsibly we act on the disturbances that we create is one of the issues. But this is one part of the entire story. I don't think so there is a problem with the intention. Everyone's intention is to have clean air, non-polluted environment, have development, everything is there. Where we lack, especially in India, is that we don't value human beings. We have got many of them. So, 4-5 मेले जाल्यार काय फरक पडना अशें एक attitude आमच्या मनान आसा. So, what happens is that the policing agencies, the monitoring agencies don't have that vigor, the tenacity of implementing the rules, the laws, the methodologies, and I think that's where we fail. We don't fail in our intentions. We fail in taking our intentions into a concrete methodology and actually implementing those aspects. I think this is what I would look at.
What I'd like you to bring in at this point of time, green building initiative. Now, a frank question, there are many real estate developers in Goa. How many of them have started doing this, and how much have you tried and failed or succeeded?
Architects design our homes. We design the structural elements of the homes, and that's where we come in. We are not someone who destroy the environment, but we are home givers, home providers. As we look at it, the Indian Green Building Council was formed in 2001 in India, and since then we have been putting a lot of rating systems in place. In Goa, there has been a slow movement towards green, but yes, we have been holding contact lectures, we have been meeting builders, we have been meeting architects, engineers, and slowly the movement is catching on. So I believe, though we are lagging, this practice will pick up and green buildings would soon become a reality in Goa.
You're optimistic.
I am optimistic, and I know because green buildings have a very large solution towards air pollution. So as we speak, I would approach on those topics.
Professor, what is your view? Because one aspect is they are saying intentions are good, but when we go to implement those intentions, we mess many things up. You not only have worked and researched on many such topics, you also work with the younger generation. What do you feel, what sense do you think has been inculcated already, and what needs to be inculcated?
As Ramani Baba said, intentions are always there, legal provisions are there. When it comes to implementation, there is a problem. This we can see from two different perspectives. One, as a citizen, why people are not taking action. Another one is from the people who are actually supposed to take action. If you look at them, you listen to them, you will hear a different story. Probably there are not enough people there to go monitor, to go implement all this kind of things. This is the one where we are supposed to really look into. And anything you want to implement, there has to be a monitoring mechanism first. Though a national mission, there are a lot of areas where they have air pollution monitoring stations are there. They are not sufficient. And okay, you monitor what action you are going to take. There actually our government comes into picture. Okay. First of all, probably there are not enough people to monitor and to take action. This is what I feel. Second point, since I also move with youngsters, I'm in the field, youngsters are aware. Probably little more awareness has to come into this. Second point is, first of all, why this pollution is happening. We are talking about air pollution today. Is air pollution different from other types of pollution? For example, the solid waste, plastic. It's a solid waste, but it is the one which is also polluting the waterways, water bodies, and also that is the one which is also polluting the air, especially with the toxic gases. Okay, this kind of awareness is coming with the youngsters, but there is something known as the tragedy of commons. Okay, first initially people do not like someone who is dumping something in the public place. You actually look at different this one, then you don't know what to do with that, so you also join them. Okay, everyone is putting, let me also put. So what? 10 people are putting, let me also pollute the environment. This is the tragedy of commons. Any public property, especially air, is public property. Okay, everyone is contributing to this. I think we have to go for more of awareness mode one, and we have to see how to implement the available regulations. Our regulations are very good. Everything has been well defined, but we have to see how to implement this.
So also, same question, तुम्ही भुरग्यांबरोबर काम करतात, you have worked with some world-renowned institutions. Again, continuously one point of view is coming forward, we have regulations, but not enough to implement it. Do you agree with the same point of view, or you have a different point of view?
I have a slightly different approach. This air pollution actually problem started with industrialization. In India, we recognized it only after Bhopal gas disaster. So this was a major turning point for our air kind of consciousness. But we always related air pollution with industrialization. The second phase came in when we related pollution, air pollution, especially with vehicular pollution. We said it is because of fuel, and that is what we have to deal with. Now we have reached a stage where there are multiple kind of generators which are relating to air pollution. So it has become so complex. Now we are really want to look at it very seriously. In terms of implementation, there are two levels of implementations. We have the laws. We have the laws. First Air Act came in 1981. So that time we were aware of this act. That time we have made this act. But how much of it has been implemented and how much of it has been utilized by government bodies to restrict the pollution has not been known, because not much studies have been done. We keep on finding this pollution is increasing, and now we are also relating it to building industry, infrastructure development, and any kind of development as relating to them. So I think there has to be a little awareness about what are the reasons for this, what are the actual reasons, and how we should deal with each of these reasons separately or together. I think that is the point we have to take forward.
The question is very simple, and to me, you petition various bodies on behalf of the civil society. We'll move to the civil society in the next phase. But if you look at this development, you travel on these roads, you see the dust, you travel to a city like Vasco, you see the coal pollution. What do you make of it? How do we make things go hand in hand? And whether it is really possible to move in hand, or it's just a great utopian idea that we are trying to devise?
See, I look at the problem with air pollution related to two things. One is we still don't really believe in the polluter pays principle. It is still in the books, even in the law college, students are discussing it, but it's not become practical. Second thing is very poor compliance. If you take the district magistrate's orders about digging and you read the fine print, things are there. What is to be done, how it has to be disposed, everything. But compliance is not taking place. So I think that if you look at that, citizens have a major responsibility in them. We have rights, but I think we are not activating our responsibilities in the sense that, for example, there are many residential homes next to industrial estates in Goa. Many of them do not know what are the compliance, procedures that have been there, neither they have, considered that important for them. So I would say that, with urbanization, with development that we are seeing, across the state and even in other states, it's not something that we can reverse. But the point here is that unless the citizens decide that, look, I want to to breathe fresh air, it's my right, and I will go to any extent to enforce that right. Until that happens, it will be all the time pointing fingers to the minister or to the department and saying, you guys need to do it. Makai padle na. So I think that has to change. Citizens.
Before we move on, I would like to point a couple of fingers to the government, as you mentioned. That's my specialty also. And then we will move on to the civil society. Government has launched many programs like plastic free Goa, open defecation free Goa, but we always see government extending deadlines on the anniversaries of those announcements, year after year. At least in a state like Goa, which is a small state, the population seems very aware. What are the problems you as a government facing that you cannot do this, in spite of having so much of machinery, in spite of having so much of staff, in spite of having so much of at least clarity of mind? When you are talking or the Chief Minister is talking, there is complete clarity of mind. What goes wrong?
In the first place, in this panel there are very eminent people, and I think all of you will agree with me, you have situations where highly educated people, and these people are not illiterate or laborers or of that kind, it is like everybody generates garbage, and what they will do is, instead of segregating the garbage and giving it to the garbage collector, whether it is the municipality in the particular case or whether it is the panchayat appointed contractor, they will prefer to wrap it in plastic, carry it along with them in their vehicle and fling it along. And that's how you see in entire Goa, our highways are so dirty. Important places where one person flings something and he throws garbage, the other person says, oh, there it is there, second one does it, third one does it, and that becomes a sort of a mini garbage dump. I think the most important role is of every citizen. You cannot keep pointing fingers at the government only. Government is doing its bit. In fact, the government or the panchayat, I will simply give you an example in my own department. The day I took over, I was myself appalled that to segregate garbage and to manage the waste in a particular panchayat, all they used to get annually is a grant of only 1 lakh rupees. Now you tell me what can be done with 1 lakh. In a single month, I got that increased to 9 lakh rupees for areas in and around the airport, where more waste is generated, where there are markets, where there are fairs being conducted, where more people live. I got the amount increased to 7 lakhs. And no panchayat in Goa got less than 5 lakhs. So this is the first thing I did. And we are now in the process of even issuing orders. In fact, I have just cleared the file today that all the big projects that are coming up in Goa, especially big colonies, unless they have a viable plan of segregating the garbage at source, having plans to dispose it off as mandated by the government and civic bodies, whether municipality or panchayat, they will not be given the clearances or any further permission to complete the project. So waste management is going to get topmost priority as far as we are concerned. Now, as I said in my opening comments, it's not enough for the government itself to do this particular thing. Unless the citizen himself is active, then what will the government alone do? Then there is the other side of the whole story. Like as you mentioned little earlier, you may come to that later, like you have the Marmunga port where coal handling is there. somehow people have got a misconception. They feel coal is polluting everything. If you look at the various equipment that has been installed by Goa Pollution Control Board, that speaks volumes about the level of pollution. One has to realize that the side shoulders which are there on every road, in every village, in every town, does not have pavers or does not have an area which is actually tarred or with any sort of cover. It simply, with a vehicle passing or moving at the side, it raises a lot of dust. And similar thing is happening in the city of Vasco. You have these particular dust particles in a big way mixing with the coal dust, and the levels go very high at our own monitoring stations. So people feel, oh, this coal handling is causing the problem. So this is the flip side of that. I'm not saying by coal, excessive handling of coal, there will not be pollution. Again, even if you have to handle coal, my take on that is that in today's world, there is equipment available where you can contain the entire thing. I have seen in Jaigarh, where you have dome-like structure, everything is being handled in a closed atmosphere. In fact, it is in the long term, it is a big saving for the company. They don't lose any of this coal, which is precious material, and they tend to gain in the long run. So this thing also should be implemented in a state like Goa. We are fully seized of all such measures, and as we go later on to our program, I will also speak on the other things. So at the panchayat level, yes, we are concerned. At the municipal level, yes, we are concerned. In fact, at the very first cabinet of Dr. Pramod Sawant, we very consciously, all ministers said, our topmost priority should be clean and green Goa. We should see that we all take that much of pain and effort to see that garbage is segregated at source and people don't end up throwing their garbage everywhere. Whatever it takes to be done in this direction should be done, will be done in a time-bound manner. That is what we have decided.
Milind, taking same point forward. Couple of days back, I read a nice story in a newspaper. The heading of that story was, Housing Society asked to pay rupees 1 lakh for polluting fields. Now, I don't think, as you said, uneducated or migrant laborers stay in these housing societies of ours. But a housing society was fined rupees 1 lakh. What do you make of this, and where is our problem?
Problem is basically when we look at all these things, I think is the way we look at a problem. Is whether it's a problem actually. I don't look at any. Now, just to take a small clue from the Jaigarh Dome, if you're saving, 3% or 2% of coal by a proper handling, that's a saving. So if you're looking at a problem as a resource-making mechanism, then it's not a problem. It's a resource-making mechanism. Same is with garbage. Though this is not directly related to air pollution, it is tertiary in nature. But the very word garbage actually should be banned. If you look at garbage, what are constituents of garbage are all resources. And if you look at them as resources and tap them, I think there's no problem. It is that no one is looking at the entire situation, in a holistic manner. Talking of segregation, I think that's a big Pandora's box. The problem is segregation might happen at source, but whether we have the collection and the transportation mechanism as well as the final point of delivery, and it is accepted as a resource. See, the moment you start working this as a resource, I heard that, somewhere, if you bring in so many bottles, you get so many credits in your education system. It's like this. Means this sort of a thing, I think unless we start changing our mindset in terms of looking at the problem as a resource, I think this will solve the problem. This is my take on it. I don't look at it at all as a problem.
Well, on both the issues, one is even a housing society polluting the field, and second about Vasco. You believe that we are doing enough to contain coal pollution in Vasco?
First thing is I have come here as the Green Building Council Chairman of Goa chapter, so I would not speak on coal pollution. Our minister has spoken about it and he has said the way forward is covering it with a dome. So that would be the best what we can do. We cannot say no coal, we can say no pollution. So as a minister has said, cover it, and that's the end of, that would be the end of the pollution. That should be the first priority of our state. Coming to societies, when you talk of finding a society of 1 lakh, when you design your building green, we have got a lot of interventions where we should develop segregation at source. That would be segregation for dry waste. That again, as Milind said, your dry waste would go as a resource to somebody. So that would be somewhere, but you don't call it a garbage, you call it a resource. So that is the first step. Second step is we insist, the Green Building Council ratings insist on organic waste treatment at source. So once you treat your organic waste at source, again, it's not garbage, it's a resource. You can sell it to your farms, or you can sell it to other people as manure, and that would be again a resource. So what Milind has said is something what is inherent in our green building ratings. Now if you adopt these two important practices of green building ratings, Sansada would not happen. So this is one important aspect what we should carry forward to the people is green buildings or adoption of green building rating systems would prevent another Sansada in Goa.
People don't find it as a problem unless they find it is affecting their health. Unless they find it affecting their health, unless they have asthma, unless they have some bronchitis, TB or something like that. Before that, nobody considers it a problem. Because it has been ingrained and it is like a slow poison. It's like traffic has increased so much. There is burning all around. Somebody is burning something next to your house. And because it is dispersing, nobody thinks it is a major problem. But the problem starts when the thing becomes bigger, like vehicular pollution, like Sonsodo. If there is a fire there, then everybody thinks that's a problem. Before that, that is not a problem. Coal again, because there is a very little we can do about it, it is a problem. Now we cover it, there is no problem. So it is about management of the problem also. And I think air pollution is directly linked to our health. And we have to look at it very seriously. As I said, it is little complex than water pollution or some kind of other solid waste problem. Air pollution is completely a different ballgame. So, and one of the major issues is health. So I think people have to realize this. Even burning plastic at your home as solving a problem by yourself can create a problem, which is affecting your family first, and which is affecting your neighbor first, your village first. So I think we have to look at it individually as a society together, apart from looking at the compliance from the government side.
Yeah, see, most of our discussions, or anyone else for that matter, mostly they are human-centric. Air pollution is there, our health is affected, we have breathing problems or whatever. This is what we are discussing. But we are not going beyond human. Actually, our Honorable Minister has given a good example that, gas chamber. That's how they have killed the people. Now it's a slow poison. And beyond human being, for example, there are birds, butterflies, bees, which are doing a lot of service to the human society because they are the one who are pollinating. They are the one who are, after pollination, getting us fruits. All our yield is because of them. And what about them? It's not only the human beings who are getting affected. Even if you want to eliminate cockroaches or mosquitoes, just you take heat and just spray. That is the power of the chemicals. And so many toxic chemicals are being produced. And we are not talking about them. We are basically talking about only human problems and human sufferings. I think this sensitivity has to be created among the people, and we have to talk about it. We have to come out with a lot of probably programs. That is a way to go forward.